Second yellow cards. Plural of second yellow card. Second act. To sneak into a venue during the intermission without paying. Second acted. Simple past and past participle of second act. Second acting. Present participle and gerund of second act. Second acts. Third person singular simple present indicative of second act. Second best. Alternative spelling of second best. Second class. Of a standard or grade 1 level below the best. Second class citizen. A member of a class of individuals that receive inferior treatment. Second class citizens. Plural of second class citizen. Second class entities. Plural of second class entity. Second class entity. Synonym of second class object. Second class object. An entity of which the value can be passed as a parameter, but that can neither be returned from a function nor be assigned to a variable. Used by Raphael Finkel, the first class object does not need to have runtime constructibility according to his definition. Second class objects. Plural of second class object. Second class value. Synonym of second class object. Second class values. Plural of second class value. Second countable. Such that its topology has a countable base set of a topological space. Second degree. At the second level of some system. Second degree burn. A burn more severe than a first degree burn that blisters the skin. Second degree burns. Plural of second degree burn. Second degree murder. The criminal offense of murder in a form defined as less serious than first degree murder. The precise distinction may vary by jurisdiction, but typically involves second degree murder being intentional but not premeditated. Second degree murders. Plural of second degree murder. Second degree relative. A blood relative who shares roughly a quarter of a person's DNA, such as a grandparent, aunt, uncle, half-sibling, grandchild, niece, or nephew. Second degree relatives. Plural of second degree relative. Second division. Being in the second division, the bottom half of the standings. Second drawer. Second rate, mediocre. Second from last. Alternative form of second to last. Second gear valuation. The assignment of a property to a tax band by an estate agent who evaluates the property while driving past it. Second gear valuations. Plural of second gear valuation. Second generation. Of or pertaining to someone whose parents are immigrants. Second growth forests. A forest which has been harvested and is regrowing. Second growth forests. Plural of second growth forest. Second garter. A fullback. Second garters. Plural of second garter. Second guess. To vet or evaluate, to criticize or correct, often by hindsight, by presuming to have a better idea, method, etc. Second guess. Simple past and past participle of second guess. Second guesser. Alternative form of second guesser. Second guessers. Plural of second guesser. Second guesses. Third person singular simple present indicative of second guess. Second guessing. The act or habit of vetting, evaluating, criticizing or correcting, often by hindsight, by presuming to have a better idea, method, etc. Second guessings. Plural of second guessing. Second half. Alternative spelling of second half. Second hand. Alternative spelling of second hand. Second hand shop. Synonym of thrift shop. Second-hand shops, plural of second-hand shop. Second-hand smoke, the smoke from smokables, especially cigarettes, also cigars or joints, especially in an enclosed environment, and which any individual, including non-smokers, might be forced to breathe. Second-hand speech, conversation overheard from someone talking on a mobile phone. Second-hand store, synonym of thrift shop. Second-hand stores, plural of second-hand store. Second-hand vape, the smoke from vapes, especially vape pens, in which any individual, including non-vapers, might be forced to breathe. Second-handed, alternative form of second-handed. Second-handedly, alternative form of second-hand. Second-handedness, alternative form of second-handedness. Second-hander, a person who is primarily concerned with being esteemed and valued by others at the expense of forming his or her own independent worldview. A person who derives their decisions from the worldview of others, with the sole metric of merit based off of how others will receive and accept their decision, not based on merit or truth, but on popular perception. Second-handers, plural of second-hander. Second harmonic generation, a nonlinear optical process in which two photons with the same frequency interact with a nonlinear material. Second harmonic generations, plural of second harmonic generation. Second impact syndrome, alternative form of second impact syndrome. Second in command, somebody ranking next below a commander. Second language acquisition, the process through which individuals learn a second language. Second last, alternative form of second last. Second level domain, a domain that is immediately subordinate to a top level domain whose name appears after it, with a period separating the two. Second level domains, plural of second level domain. Second line, of second resort. Second mile service, exceptional customer service. Second order, denoting the second in a numerical sequence of models, languages, relationships, forms of logical discourse, etc. Second order logic, a formal system which extends first order logic by allowing quantification over relations between members of the universe. Second order logics, plural of second order logic. Second order threat, a factor that may eventually lead to a direct military threat. Second order threats, plural of second order threat. Second party, of or related to the second party in a business or transaction. Second person dual, a variety of second person verb form used when the subject of a sentence is exactly two people including the audience, used in some languages, such as Greek and Hawaiian. Second person duals, plural of second person dual. Second person plural, the form of a verb used with the pronouns you plural, y'all, you guys, etc., or their equivalents in other languages. Second person plurals, plural of second person plural. Second person singular, the pronouns thou and you singular, or their equivalents in other languages. Second person singulars, plural of second person singular. Second preimage attack, alternative form of second preimage attack. Second preimage attacks, plural of second preimage attack. Second rate, of a Royal Navy ship of the line in the Napoleonic era, having 80-98 guns across 3 gun decks, a complement of 750, and weighing approximately 2,200 tons burthen. Second rater, a person or thing that is second rate. Second raters, plural of second rater. Second rates, plural of second rate. Second round effect. The situation where inflation starts to have an indirect impact affecting wages and prices. Second round effects. Plural of second round effect. Second-sighted. Having second sight, clairvoyant. Second-story man. A thief, especially one who climbs into buildings above ground level. Second-story men. Plural of second-story man. Second-story man. Alternative form of second-story man. Second-story men. Plural of second-story man. Second string. Belonging to the second string of a team. Second stringer. A person who plays second string. A person who is kept on a sports team as a backup in case a first string player is unavailable. Second stringers. Plural of second stringer. Second system effect. The tendency of small, elegant, and successful systems to be succeeded by over-engineered, bloated systems due to inflated expectations and overconfidence. Second system effects. Plural of second system effect. Second system syndrome. Synonym of second system effect. Second system syndromes. Plural of second system syndrome. Second teamer. Someone in the second team. Second teamers. Plural of second teamer. Second to last. Alternative form of second to last. Second wave feminism. A period of feminist activity that began in the early 1960s in the United States and broadened the gender equality debate to include family, the workplace, reproductive rights, etc. Second waver. A feminist in the era of second wave feminism. Second wavers. Plural of second waver. Secondable. Capable of being seconded. Secondaries. Plural of secondary. Secondarily. With lesser importance. Secondariness. The state of being secondary. Secondary. Next in order to the first or primary of second place in origin, rank, etc. Secondary accent. Synonym of secondary stress. Secondary accents. Plural of secondary accent. Secondary action. Industrial action taken by workers who are not involved in a dispute to show solidarity with those who are involved. Secondary actions. Plural of secondary action. Secondary alcohol. Any alcohol of general formula R2CHOH. Secondary alcohols. Plural of secondary alcohol. Secondary amine. An amine containing two radicals of general formula R1, R2, and H. The radicals may be the same, different, or part of a ring. Secondary amines. Plural of secondary amine. Secondary boycott. A boycott of one organization to put pressure on another organization which is the real target. Secondary boycotts. Plural of secondary boycott. Secondary burial. Burial of the dead following an exhumation. Secondary burials. Plural of secondary burial. Secondary care. The healthcare services provided by medical specialists who generally do not have first contact with patients, for example cardiologists, urologists, or endodontists. It includes short-term care for acute conditions such as injury and childbirth. Secondary cell. Synonym of storage cell. Secondary cell wall. A structure situated between the primary cell wall and the plasma membrane of plant cells. Secondary cell walls. Plural of secondary cell wall. Secondary cells. Plural of secondary cell. Secondary color. Any of three colors derived from mixing two primary colors. Secondary colors. Plural of secondary color. Secondary color. Any of three colors derived from mixing two primary colors. Secondary colors. Plural of secondary color. Secondary consumer. A secondary consumer eats what is below it in the food chain. Secondary consumers. Plural of secondary consumer. Secondary diagonal. Synonym of antediagonal. Secondary diagonals. Plural of secondary diagonal. Secondary dominant. A dominant V chord that temporarily tonicizes a non-tonic chord, i.e. allows a chord other than the tonic have the feeling of the tonic. Secondary drowning. Asphyxiation caused by agitation of alveoli from the aspiration of liquid after recovery from immersion into liquid in the 3-day period following the immersion episode. Secondary drownings. Plural of secondary drowning. Secondary education. Education that follows primary education and leads to either employment or college/university education. Secondary emission. The emission of electrons from the surface of a solid when bombarded with electrons or other charged particles. Secondary emissions. Plural of secondary emission. Secondary energies. Plural of secondary energy. Secondary energy. Energy contained in a fuel, electricity, or similar carrier of energy derived from a primary energy source. Secondary explosive. A type of explosive less sensitive than a primary explosive and which requires substantially more energy to be initiated. Secondary explosives. Plural of secondary explosive. Secondary feather. A Remex flight feather that is connected to the ulna. Secondary feathers. Plural of secondary feather. Secondary fermentation. Any fermentation that takes place after the conversion of sugar to alcohol in beers and wine. Secondary fermentations. Plural of secondary fermentation. Secondary fire. A minor fire. Generally outdoors and not harming people or damaging property. Secondary forests. Synonym of second growth forest. Secondary forests. Plural of secondary forests. Secondary healthcare. Synonym of secondary care. Secondary hypothermia. Hypothermia caused by an underlying pathology that prevents the body from generating enough core heat. Secondary immunodeficiencies. Plural of secondary immunodeficiency. Secondary immunodeficiency. Immunodeficiency caused by malnutrition or exposure to disease or a specific drug treatment. Secondary industries. Plural of secondary industry. Secondary industry. An industry that processes raw materials produced by primary industry into goods suitable for tertiary industry to provide goods or services to consumers. Secondary infection. Any infection that arises subsequent to a pre-existing infection, but especially a nosocomial infection. Secondary infections. Plural of secondary infection. Secondary intention. Allowing a wound to heal without being sutured. Secondary EMS spectrometry. A technique used to visualize the three-dimensional structure of solids by employing an energetic ion beam to fragment the atomic or molecular constituents from a surface. Secondary legislation. Legislation enacted by a power derived from another legislation, such as one made by the executive branch within the boundaries fixed by an act of Parliament. Secondary legislations. Plural of secondary legislation. Secondary liability. The legal responsibility arising when a party materially contributes to, facilitates, induces, or is otherwise responsible for directly infringing acts carried out by another party. Secondary literature. Secondary source. Secondary market. The financial market for trading of securities that have already been issued in an initial private or public offering. Secondary markets. Plural of secondary market. Secondary memory. Synonym of secondary storage. Secondary metabolite. A metabolite of an organism that is not used by that organism for growth, development, and c. Secondary metabolites. Plural of secondary metabolite. Secondary modern. In the UK, from 1944 to the 1970s, a secondary school for children who had failed the 11+ examination. Secondary modern school. A type of school for pupils who had failed the 11+ examination that concentrated on practical and vocational rather than academic subjects. Secondary modern schools. Plural of secondary modern school. Secondary moderns. Plural of secondary modern. Secondary phosphine. Any compound of general formula R2PH. Secondary phosphines. Plural of secondary phosphine. Secondary planet. A moon of a planet. Secondary planets. Plural of secondary planet. Secondary port. A port whose tidal predictions are not given directly in tide tables and must be calculated based on the tidal curve of a standard port. Secondary ports. Plural of secondary port. Secondary poverty. The condition of living above the poverty line, but spending one's income on things other than the necessities of life, such as alcohol or gambling. Secondary predation. A form of predation when one predator feeds on a second predator, which has in turn already consumed a target prey. Secondary research. Research performed through the summary, collation, or synthesis of the results of existing research. Secondary sanction. Extraterritorial sanctions imposed on third country entities that trade with already sanctioned entities. Secondary sanctions. Plural of secondary sanction. Secondary school. A state school attended between the ages of 11 and 16 or 18, between primary school and university. Secondary schools. Plural of secondary school. Secondary sector. The sector of the economy that principally uses raw materials produced by the primary sector for sale and used by other sectors. Secondary sectors. Plural of secondary sector. Secondary sex characteristic. A feature that distinguishes between the two sexes in adult members of a species, but is not directly part of the reproductive system. Secondary sex characteristics. Plural of secondary sex characteristic. Secondary smoking. Synonym of passive smoking. Secondary source. A study of past events or a past author written from the perspective of a later period of time, a document that draws on one or more historical primary sources and interprets or analyzes them, including documents such as newspapers whose accuracy is open to question. Secondary sources. Plural of secondary source. Secondary storage. The non-volatile memory of a computer not directly accessible by the central processing unit. Secondary stress. The weaker of two degrees of stress in the pronunciation of a word. Secondary stresses. Plural of secondary stress. Secondary structure. The general three-dimensional structure of a biopolymer such as DNA or a protein. Secondary structures. Plural of secondary structure. Secondary suite. A self-contained apartment, cottage or small residential unit located on a property that has a separate main single-family home, duplex, or other residential unit. Secondary suites, plural of secondary suite. Secondary tech, short for secondary technical school. Secondary technical school, a kind of secondary school in England and Wales in the mid-20th century under the tripartite system, teaching mechanical, scientific, and engineering skills to serve industry and science. Secondary tense, in Latin, the perfect, imperfect, or pluperfect tense. Secondary tenses, plural of secondary tense. Secondary valence, in a coordination compound, the number of ions or molecules that are coordinated to the central metal ion, its coordination number. Secondary valences, plural of secondary valence. Secondary vaping, synonym of passive vaping. Secondary victimization, alternative spelling of secondary victimization. Secondary victimizations, plural of secondary victimization. Secondary victimization, the act of blaming the victim of a crime rather than the perpetrator. Secondary victimizations, plural of secondary victimization. Secondary work, synonym of secondary source. Secondary works, plural of secondary work. Secondary world, an internally consistent, fictional, fantasy world or setting that is different from the real primary world. Secondary worlds, plural of secondary world. Second-born, born as the second child to parent or family. Second-borns, plural of second-born. Second, the second defensive position, with the sword hand held at waist height, with a hand held in a prone position and the tip of the sword below the level of the guard. Seconded, simple past and past participle of second. Secondee, a person who is transferred temporarily to alternative employment or seconded. Secondees, plural of secondee. Seconder, something that lasts or takes a specified number of seconds. Seconders, plural of seconder. Seconds, plural of second. Second-hand, not new, previously owned and used by another. Second-hand embarrassment, synonym of vicarious embarrassment. Second-hand embarrassments, plural of second-hand embarrassment. Second-hand smoke, alternative form of second-hand smoke. Second-handed, second-hand. Second-handedly, alternative form of second-hand. Second-handedness, the state of being second-hand. Secondie, plural of secondo. Secondigravida, a woman who is pregnant for the second time. Secondigravidi, plural of secondigravida. Secondin, pronunciation spelling of seconding. Secondine, alternative form of secondine, second coat of an ovule. Secondines, plural of secondine. Seconding, present participle and gerund of second. Secondings, plural of seconding. Secondipers, alternative form of secondiparous. Second long, lasting for a second. Secondly, in the second place. Secondman, a driver's assistant on a diesel or electric locomotive. Secondman, plural of secondmen. Secondment, the process or state of being seconded, the temporary transfer of a person from their normal duty to another assignment. Secondments, plural of secondment. Secondmost, alternative form of secondmost. Secondness, the quality of being or coming second. Secondo, the second part of a piano duet for four hands. Secondos, plural of secondo. Seconds, plural of second. Seconds in command, plural of second in command. Seconds of arc, plural of second of arc. Seconds in command, plural of second in command. Seconds long, lasting for several seconds. Second space, space as it is conceived as opposed to space that is directly perceived. For example, the conception of a space based on a map or description. Second, non-standard form of second. Seconolate sign, an alkaloid antibiotic related to neolysine. Setter, a surname. Secord, a surname. Secords, plural of secord. Secoritoi, misspelling of sequaridoid. Secker, plural of secker. Seco, plural of seco. Secosteroid, any of the subclass of many terpenoid compounds of the tetracyclic steroid class that are structural relatives bearing a cleavage of one of the four rings of that parent class. The prototypical secosteroid is cholecalciferol, vitamin D3. Secosteroidal, relating to the secosteroids. Secosteroidogenesis, the biosynthesis of secosteroids. Secosteroidogenic, related to secosteroidogenesis. Secosteroids, plural of secosteroi. Secosterol, any of a group of sterols found in certain soft corals. Secosterols, plural of secosterol. Secosubamolide, the secobutanolide derived from subamolide. Secautin, a member of an indigenous people of the Albemarle Sound region of North Carolina. Secautins, plural of secotin. Saccodiaceous, of or relating to the Seccotiaceae. Saccodioid, relating to fungi of the genus Seccodium. Saccovirid, any virus of the family Saccoviridae. Saccovirids, plural of seccovirid. Seccovirus, any virus of the family Seccoviridae. Seccoviruses, plural of seccovirus. Saccexilaganin, an antioxidant sequaridoid glycoside 2s 3R4s 2 beta D glucopyranosiloxy 5 methoxycarbonyl 3 vinyl 3 4 dihydro 2 H pyrin 4 illacetic acid. Sacoya, a member of a native people of the Ecuadorian and Peruvian Amazon. Secpar, Arsac. Setpars, plural of secpar. Separ, abbreviation of secretary. Secrame, an alkaloid similar to galanthamine that inhibits secretion. Secreate, obsolete spelling of secret. Secrecies, plural of secrecy. Secrecy, the habit of keeping secrets. Secrecy jurisdiction, a facility or physical location which enables individuals or entities to escape or undermine the laws, rules, and regulations of jurisdictions elsewhere, using secrecy as a primary tool. Secrecy jurisdictions, plural of secrecy jurisdiction. Thecrest, a surname. Thecrests, plural of secrests. Secrecy, obsolete spelling of secrecy. Secret, a piece of knowledge that is hidden and intended to be kept hidden. Secret admirer, one who admires another romantically but purposely remains anonymous to the extent that the subject of the admiration is unaware of the admirer's identity. Secret admirers, plural of secret admirer. Secret agent, a member of an intelligence agency whose identity or affiliation is kept confidential. Secret agentry, the position of being a secret agent. Secret agents, plural of secret agent. Secret ballot, the voting system involving ballots available only at official polling places, prepared at public expense, containing the names of all candidates, and marked in secret at the polling places. Secret ballots, plural of secret ballot. Secret chancellor, in the medieval kingdom of Hungary, originally the chief priest of the royal chapel, who bore the title of Count d'Espagne, later the head of a separate chancellery concerned with foreign diplomacy. Secret chancellors, plural of secret chancellor. Secret government, synonym of shadow government. Secret governments, plural of secret government. Secret handshake, a distinct form of handshake, often with the fingers or thumbs specially positioned, that covertly indicates a person's membership of a club or clique. Secret handshakes, plural of secret handshake. Secret histories, plural of secret history. Secret history, a revisionist interpretation of history claimed to have been deliberately suppressed, forgotten, or ignored by established scholars. Secret ink, synonym of invisible ink, ink that can be made visible by some process. Secret intelligence service, MI6. Secret menu, a collection of unofficial, unadvertised food items available at a fast food restaurant, known to customers only by word of mouth. Secret menus, plural of secret menu. Secret of Polichinelle, a supposed secret known to everyone. Secret police, a police force operating in secrecy and outside the normal boundaries of law and hidden from the public, usually in support of a totalitarian government's political policies to suppress political dissent through the use of methods including intimidation, violence, and surveillance. Secret recipe, a recipe whose details are held under secrecy. Secret recipes, plural of secret recipe. Secret Santa, a Christmas tradition where a group of people give anonymous gifts to each other, with each person randomly selected to give a gift to one other person. Secret Santas, plural of secret Santa. Secret sauce, a sauce used in cooking or as a condiment, the ingredients of which are kept secret. Secret sauces, plural of secret sauce. Secret Service, a governmental agency that deals with espionage and other acts of secrecy. Secret Services, plural of secret service. Secret sharing, any method for distributing a secret amongst a group of participants, each of whom is allocated a share. The secret can be reconstructed only when a sufficient number of shares, possibly of different types, are combined. Secret shopper, synonym of mystery shopper. Secret shoppers, plural of secret shopper. Secret societies, plural of secret society. Secret society, a club, fraternal organization, or other association which admits only selected individuals as members, whose meetings and practices are often ritualistic and not public, and which often has the purpose of furthering the social or economic opportunities of its members. Secret sock, synonym of no-show sock. Secret socks, plural of secret sock. Secret squirrel, someone who is being secretive. Secret squirrels, Plural of secret squirrel. Secret sacred. In Australian Aboriginal culture, restricted to initiated men or to women, not public knowledge. Secreta. The products of secretion. Secretability. The quality of being secretable. Secretable. That may be secreted. Secretage. A process in which mercury or some of its salts is employed to impart the property of felting to certain kinds of furs. Secretagogen. A secreted calcium-binding protein found in the cytoplasm. Secretagogue. A substance which promotes secretion of another, such as a hormone, for example insulin, saliva, or lymph. Secretagogues. Plural of secretagogue. Secretaire. A kind of writing desk. Secretaires. Plural of secretaire. Secretaires. Alternative spelling of secretariess. Secretarises. Plural of secretaires. Secretario. Pertaining to a secretary. Secretarially. In secretarial fashion. Secretarian. Of or relating to secretaries. Secretariat. The office or department of a government secretary. Secretariat. Alternative spelling of secretariat. Secretariats. Plural of secretariat. Secretariats. Plural of secretariat. Secretary. Obsolete spelling of secretary. Secretary. Simple past and past participle of secretary. Secretaries. Plural of secretary. Secretaries general. Plural of secretary general. Secretaries general. Plural of secretary general. Secretaries of justice. Plural of secretary of justice. Secretaries of state. Plural of secretary of state. Secretaries of interior. Plural of secretary of interior. Secretaries general. Plural of secretary general. Alternative form of secretary general. Secretary. A town in Maryland. Secretary bird. A large terrestrial bird of prey, Sagittarius serpentarius, native to Africa, with very long legs that preys on reptiles, especially snakes. Secretary birds. Plural of secretary bird. Secretary General. The chief administrator of an international body such as NATO or the United Nations. Secretary General. Alternative letter case form of Secretary General. Secretary hand. A style of handwriting developed in Europe and used during the 16th and 17th centuries for writing English, German, Welsh, and Gaelic, a variety of this style. Secretary hands. Plural of secretary hand. Secretary of Justice. Synonym of Minister of Justice. Secretary of State. Any of several senior government positions whose function varies from nation to nation. Secretary of State. Alternative form of Secretary of State. Secretary of Interior. Synonym of Interior Minister. Secretary problem. The problem of selecting the best out of n applicants for a position under the condition that all applicants are interviewed in random order. The quality of the applicants is not known before interviewing, and once rejected, an applicant cannot be recalled. Secretary problems. Plural of secretary problem. Secretary spread. The apparent widening of the hips and buttocks as seen when a voluptuous woman sits on a chair. Secretary General. Alternative spelling of Secretary General. Secretary bird. Alternative spelling of secretary bird. Secretary birds, plural of secretary bird. Secretaries, a female secretary. Secretaresses, plural of secretariess. Secretary, present participle and gerund of secretary. Secretary-like, resembling or characteristic of a secretary. Secretaryship, a person's term in office with a title including the term secretary, such as Secretary of State. Secretaryships, plural of secretaryship. Secretase, an enzyme that snips pieces off a longer protein that is embedded in the cell membrane. Secretases, plural of secretase. Degree, separated. Secrete, simple past and past participle of secret. Secretar, alternative spelling of secretar. Secretars, plural of secretar. Degretes, third person singular simple present indicative of secrete. Decretus, second person singular simple present indicative of secrete. Secreta, third person singular simple present indicative of secrete. Secretin, a peptide hormone secreted by the duodenum that serves to regulate its acidity. Secretine, alternative form of secretin. Secretines, plural of secretine. Secrete, present participle and gerund of secret. Secretins, plural of secretin. Secretion, any substance that is secreted by an organism. Secretional, relating to secretions. Secretionary, relating to secretions. Secretions, plural of secretion. Secretus, a dealer in secrets or arcana. Secretists, plural of secretists. Secretaceous, produced by animal secretion. Secretive, having an inclination to secrecy. Secretively, in a secretive manner. Secretiveness, the state or characteristic of being secretive. Secretly, in secret, covertly. Secretmoner, a person who deals in secrets. Secretmoners, plural of secretmoner. Secretness, quality of being secret. Secretogen, any substance that induces secretion. Secretogenic, that induces secretion. Secretogens, plural of secretogen. Secretoglobin, any of a family of small disulfide-linked dimeric proteins found only in mammals. Secretoglobins, plural of secretoglobin. Secretagogue, alternative form of secretagogue. Secretagogues, plural of secretagogue. Secretogranin, any of a group of related neuroendocrine secretory proteins. Secretogranins, plural of secretogranin. Secretoinhibitory, inhibiting a secretion. Secretolysis, the breaking up of secretions. Secretolytic, that breaks up secretions, especially phlegm. Secretolytically, in a secretolytic manner. Secretolytics, plural of secretolytic. Secretomal, secretomic. Secretome, that part of a proteome consisting of proteins secreted from a cell. Secretomes, plural of secretome. Secretomic, relating to secretomes or to secretomics. Secretomics, the study of secretomes. Secretomotor, relating to the capacity of a structure, often a nerve, to induce a gland to secrete a substance, usually mucus or serous fluid. Secretomotor neuron, alternative form of secretomotor neuron. Secretomotor neurons, plural of secretomotor neuron. Secretonurin, a 33 amino acid neuropeptide derived from secretogrin and Romin 2 found in a wide variety of peptidergic endocrine cells and involved in chemotaxis of monocytes and eosinophils. Secretor, a person who or animal that secretes emits a bodily fluid. Secretories, plural of secretory. Secretorially, in a secretory manner. Secretors, plural of secretor. Secretory, of, pertaining to, or used in secretion. Secretosome, a complex containing syntaxin and synaptotagmin within a varicosity that controls secretion. Secretosomes, plural of secretosome. Secrets, plural of secret. Secrets of polychinelle, plural of secret of polychinelle. Hekret, obsolete spelling of secret. Secret, simple past and past participle of secret. Secret, present participle and gerund of secret. Secretum, a section of the British Museum created in 1865 to store those historical items deemed obscene. Secrist, a surname. Secrists, plural of secrists. Secretome, misspelling of secretome. Thek, plural of seconds. Pex, abbreviation of sections. Thek, an offshoot of a larger religion or denomination. Sect people, synonym of plain Dutch. Sectant, one of the portions of space bounded by the three coordinate planes. Sectants, plural of sectant. Sectarial, synonym of sectarian. Sectarian, of, relating to, or partial to a sect. Sectarianize, alternative form of sectarianize. Sectarianize, simple past and past participle of sectarianize. Sectarianizes, third person singular simple present indicative of sectarianize. Sectarianizing, present participle and gerund of sectarianize. Sectarianism, rigid adherence to a particular sect, denomination, ideology, or party. Sectarianisms, plural of sectarianism. Sectarianist, one who narrow-mindedly devotes themselves to a particular sect, especially in religion. Sectarianists, plural of sectarianists. Sectarianize, to render sectarian, to put into a sect. Sectarianize, simple past and past participle of sectarianize. Sectarianizes, third person singular simple present indicative of sectarianize. Sectarianizing, present participle and gerund of sectarianize. Sectarianly, in a sectarian manner. Sectarians, plural of sectarian. Sectaries, plural of sectary. Sectarism. Sectarianism. Sectarisms, plural of sectarism. Sectarius, a sectary. Sectarists, plural of sectarists. Sectary, a member of a particular sect, school of thought or practice, party or profession, a sectarian. Sectator, a follower, a disciple, someone who follows a particular school, partisan. Sectators, plural of sectator. Sectile, capable of being cut. Sectility, the property of being able to be cut. Examples of materials with this property include wood, metal, and paper. Secting, synonym of cutting. Section, a cutting, a part cut out from the rest of something. Section 104 holding, the situation where certain shares are pooled and treated as a single asset for tax purposes. Section 104 holdings. Plural of Section 104 holding. Section 226, a retirement annuity contract. Section 226 is plural of Section 226. Section 620, a retirement annuity contract. Section 620s, plural of Section 620. Section 8, the Housing Voucher Choice Program. Section 8 is plural of Section 8. Section automatic weapon. Squad automatic weapon, a class of light machine gun, a machine gun issued to a section of troops, being heavier than the standard assault rifle and personal machine guns issued per trooper. Section automatic weapons. Plural of section automatic weapon. Section beam. In warping, a roller that receives the yarn from the spools. Section beams. Plural of section beam. Section break. The division between adjacent sections of a document and usually and especially the code point or character that represents it in character encoding or the glyph that may be assigned to that character if any. Section breaks. Plural of section break. Section liner. A draftsman's instrument for ruling parallel lines. Section liners. Plural of section liner. Section sign. The symbol section used to refer to a particular section of a document, such as a legal code. Section signs. Plural of section sign. Section house. Accommodations provided by a public service or company for its employees. Section houses. Plural of section house. Sectionable. Able to be sectioned. Sectional. Relating to a section. Sectionalization. Alternative form of sectionalization. Sectionalizations. Plural of sectionalization. Sectionalize. Alternative form of sectionalize. Sectionalize. Simple past and past participle of sectionalize. Sectionalizes. Third person singular simple present indicative of sectionalize. Sectionalizing. Present participle and gerund of sectionalize. Sectionalism. Promoting the good of one division, department, or subgroup over that of the whole. Sectionalisms. Plural of sectionalism. Sectionalists. A proponent of sectionalism. Sectionalists. Plural of sectionalists. Sectionality. The state or quality of being sectional, sectionalism. Sectionalization. Division into sections. Sectionalizations. Plural of sectionalization. Sectionalize. To divide into sections. Sectionalize. Simple past and past participle of sectionalize. Sectionalizes. Third person singular simple present indicative of sectionalize. Sectionalizing. Present participle and gerund of sectionalize. Sectionally. In a sectional manner, in sections. Sectionals. Plural of sectional. Sectionaries. Plural of sectionary. Sectionary, a member of a French anti-royalist political party that was one of the driving forces of the French Revolution. Sectionectomies, plural of sectionectomy. Sectionectomy, removal of a section of an organ. Section, simple past and past participle of section. Sectioning, present participle and gerund of section. Sectionings, plural of sectioning. Sectionization, alternative form of sectionization. Sectionize, alternative form of sectionize. Sectionize, simple past and past participle of sectionize. Sectionizes, third person singular simple present indicative of sectionize. Sectionizing, present participle and gerund of sectionize. Sectionize, to form into sections. Sectionize, simple past and past participle of sectionize. Sectionizes, third person singular simple present indicative of sectionize. Sectionizing, present participle and gerund of sectionize. Sectionless, without sections. Sectionman, a railroad worker who maintains and patrols the track. Sectionman, plural of sectionman. Sections, plural of section. Section Y, throughout a section. Sectionoplanography, a method of laying down the sections of engineering work in railways. Sektish, a surname. Sectism, devotion to a sect. Sectisms, plural of sectism. Tekest, a member of a sect. Tekests, plural of sectus. Sectioncle, a little or petty sect. Sectioncles, plural of sectioncle. Tectu, sectile. Capable of being cut. Sector, a section. Sector principle, a principle in international law where international boundaries are extended over sea areas in the Arctic towards the North Pole following meridians lines of longitude. The same principle is used over land in the Antarctic to the South Pole. Sector, of or pertaining to a sector all senses. Sectorally, by sectors. Sectortomies, plural of sectortomy. Sectortomy, excision of a sector of the liver. Sector, divided into sectors. Sectorial, adapted for cutting. Sectoriality, the condition of being sectorial. Sectorially, in terms of sectors. Sectorials, plural of sectorial. Sectoring, division into sectors. Sectorings, plural of sectoring. Sectorization, alternative form of sectorization. Sectorize, alternative form of sectorize. Sectorize, alternative spelling of sectorized. Sectorizes, third person singular simple present indicative of sectorize. Sectorizing, present participle and gerund of sectorize. Sectorization, division into sectors. Sectorizations, plural of sectorization. Sectorize, to divide into sectors. Sectorize, divided into sectors. Sectorizes, third person singular simple present indicative of sectorize. Sectorizing, present participle and gerund of sectorize. Sectoroi, having the shape of a sector, for example, of an orange. Sectors, plural of sector. That's plural of sect. Sectwise, in terms of sect. Seco, a locality in Reseda, Karaseverin County, Romania. Secure, obsolete spelling of secure. Securities, plural of security. Security, obsolete form of security. Secures, third person singular simple present indicative of secure. Sacuani, a commune of Bacău County, Romania. Secukinumab, a human monoclonal antibody designed for the treatment of uveitis, rheumatoid arthritis, and psoriasis. Secula, plural of seculum. Secular, a surname. Secular arm, the lay or temporal authority of a secular court to pronounce punishment, particularly capital punishment, of an offender tried by an ecclesiastical court. Secular arms, plural of secular arm. Secular clergy, one of two branches of the clergy, composed of deacons and priests who are not monastics and do not belong to religious orders. Secular equilibria, plural of secular equilibrium. Secular equilibrium, the situation of the quantity of a radioisotope remaining constant because it is produced by decay of a parent isotope at the same rate that it decays. Secular equilibriums, plural of secular equilibrium. Secular progressivism, an alleged movement in the United States with the ostensible goal of removing religion from the public sphere. Secular Zionism, a secular nationalist movement that supports the establishment of a Jewish state in the land of Israel. Secularization, non-Oxford British English Standard spelling of secularization. Secularizations, plural of secularization. Secularize, non-Oxford British English Standard spelling of secularize. Secularize, simple past and past participle of secularize. Secularizer, non-Oxford British English Standard spelling of secularizer. Secularizers, plural of secularizer. Secularizes, third person singular simple present indicative of secularize. Secularizing, present participle and gerund of secularize. Secularism, neutrality towards all religions. Secularisms, plural of secularism. Secularists, a person who believes in or supports secularism. Secularistic, pertaining to secularists or secularism. Secularistically, in a secularistic manner. Secularists, plural of secularists. Secularities, plural of secularity. Secularity, the state of being secular. Secularizable, capable of being secularized. Secularization, the transformation of a society from close identification with religious values and institutions toward non-religious or irreligious values and secular institutions. Secularizations, plural of secularization. Secularize, to make secular. Secularize, simple past and past participle of secularize. Secularizer, one who secularizes. Secularizers, plural of secularizer. Secularizes, third person singular simple present indicative of secularize. Secularizing, Present participle and gerund of secularize. Secularly, in a secular fashion. Secularness, the quality or state of being secular. Seculars, plural of secular. Seculum, alternative form of seculum. Seculums, plural of seculum. Decund, arranged on one side only as flowers or leaves on a stalk, unilateral. Secundal, relating to seconds intervals between pairs of adjacent notes in a diatonic scale. Secondaries, a lay vicar. Secondate, to make prosperous. Secondated, simple past and past participle of secondate. Secondates, third person singular simple present indicative of secondate. Secondating, present participle and gerund of secondate. Secondative, in which the indirect objects of the transitive verbs are treated like the direct objects of monotransitive verbs. Secondaxles, plural of secondaxle. Secunderabad, the twin city of Hyderabad in the Indian state of Telangana. Secundibra, the second-order brachial plate of a crinoid. Secundibrax, plural of secundibra. Secundiflorus, bearing flowers only on one side of the stem. Secondigravid, pregnant for the second time. Secondigravida, a woman who is pregnant for the second time. Secondigravidi, plural of secondigravida. Secondigravidas, plural of secondigravida. Secondigravids, plural of secondigravid. Secondine, the second coat or integument of an ovule lying within the primine. Secondines, plural of secondine. Secondino, a surname. Secondinos, plural of secondino. Secondipara, a woman during or after her second pregnancy. Secondipary, plural of secondipara. Secondiparas, plural of secondipara. Secondiparity, the quality of being secondiparous. Secondiparous, pregnant for the second time. Secondly, in a second arrangement. Secundo, the secondary part of a duet. Secundo primary, both primary and secondary. Secondogeture, the condition of being secondborn. Secondogetures, plural of secondogeture. Secundos, plural of secundo. Secundum, according to. Secundum artem, artificially. Secundum naturam, naturally. Secundum quid, in certain respects only. Secani, alternative form of secani. Secondmes, plural of secani. Securability, the characteristic or degree of being securable, especially the ability of a system to provide different levels of secure access. Securable, able to be secured. Securables, plural of securable. Securance, assurance, confirmation. Securances, plural of securance. Secure, free from attack or danger, protected. Secure arms, to guard the firearms from becoming wet. Secure by design, designed from the ground up to be secure. Secure, simple past and past participle of secure. Secured creditor, a creditor with the benefit of a security interest over some or all of the assets of the debtor. Secured creditors, plural of secured creditor. Secured debt, debt that is backed or secured by collateral or assets in order to reduce the risk associated with lending. Secured debts, plural of secured debt. Secured loan, a loan in which the borrower pledges some asset as collateral for the loan, which then becomes a secured debt owed to the creditor who issues the loan. Secured loans, plural of secured loan. Take care in a secure manner, without fear or apprehension, without danger. Securement, the act of securing. Securements, plural of securement. Secureness, the quality or state of being secure, security. Securer, comparative form of secure, more secure. Securers, plural of securer. Securers, third person singular simple present indicative of secure. Securest, superlative form of secure, most secure. Secure, third person singular simple present indicative of secure. Securicula, a little axe or a votive offering in that form. Securiculi, plural of securicula. Securidaceae, a particular steroid glycoside. Securiferous, belonging to the sawflies. Securiform, having the form of an axe or hatchet. Secure, a protein involved in anaphase triggering. Securing, present participle and gerund of secure. Securini, an alkaloid found in the tree Margaritaria discoidea. Securitan, one who feels secure, but who may in fact not be. Securitans, plural of securitan. Securitarian, with security as an absolute priority, annotately obsessed with security. Securitate, the official state security and secret police force of Romania under communist rule. Secure, a high explosive in the form of a yellowish powder. Security, obsolete spelling of security. Securities. Plural of security. Securities lending, the lending of securities by one brokerage to another, typically for a secondary purpose such as to cover a stock short position, not to be confused with collateral-type stock loans. Securitization, alternative spelling of securitization. Securitizations, plural of securitization. Securitize, alternative spelling of securitize. Securitize, simple past and past participle of securitize. Securitizes, third person singular simple present indicative of securitize. Securitizing, present participle and gerund of securitize. Securitization, the fact or process of securitizing assets, the conversion of loans into securities, usually in order to sell them on to other investors. Securitizations, plural of securitization. Securitize, to convert assets or claims typically outstanding loans or other receivables to securities, usually by selling them with a discount to a financial intermediary which pools them with other similar assets and sells further as securities to third-party investors. Securitize, made into a security. Securitizer, one who or that which securitizes. Securitizers, plural of securitizer. Securitizes, third person singular simple present indicative of securitize. Securitizing, Present participle and gerund of securitize. Security, the condition of not being threatened, especially physically, psychologically, emotionally, or financially. Security barrier, a physical structure or natural feature used to prevent or deter access by unauthorized persons to a restricted area. Security barriers, plural of security barrier. Security blanket, a blanket that one uses to have a secure feeling or reduced anxiety, usually in the early years of life. Security blanket, plural of security blanket. Security by design, relying on a secure design to defend against attacks. Security be it security, alternative form of security through obscurity. Security cam, security camera. Security camera, a video camera used to protect a building from intruders and to detect crime and other issues. Security cameras, plural of security camera. Security chain, synonym of door chain. Security chains, plural of security chain. Security clearance, a status granted to an individual allowing them access to classified information or to a restricted area. Security clearances, plural of security clearance. Security communities, plural of security community. Security community, a region of the world in which large-scale use of violence, such as war, among nations is highly unlikely. Security Council, the UN Security Council. Security culture, a set of practices shared by a community whose members may engage in illegal or sensitive activities in order to minimize the risk of these activities being subverted or sabotaged. Security cultures, plural of security culture. Security deposit, an amount of money paid in advance as security against the payer's non-performance of a contractual obligation. Security deposits, plural of security deposit. Security detail, a team, either privately hired or working for a government, that is assigned to provide personal security for an individual or group. Security details, plural of security detail. Security distance, the amount of space required between two vehicles on a roadway in order to maintain a safe following distance. Security distances, plural of security distance. Security forces, an army. Security guard, a person who is employed to provide security for people or property. Security guards, plural of security guard. Security hole, a security vulnerability in a computer system. Security holes, plural of security hole. Security housing unit, synonym of whole solitary confinement. Security housing units, plural of security housing unit. Security interest, the right of a lender to seize possession of collateral offered to secure the loan. Security interests, plural of security interest. Security market line, a line representing the relationship between expected return and systematic risk, thus a graphical representation of the CAPM. It is valid both for portfolios and individual assets. Security market lines, plural of security market line. Security mom, a mother for whom issues of safety and national security are of great importance. Security moms, plural of security mom. Security officer, synonym of security guard. Security officers, plural of security officer. Security police, a law enforcement agency focusing primarily on providing security and law enforcement services to a particular area or a specific property. Security principal, an entity capable of being authenticated by a computer system or network. Security principles, plural of security principle. Security printer, a producer of printed documents or products which are physically protected against forgery, counterfeiting, and alteration by security features. Security printers, plural of security printer. Security procedure, a procedure or set of procedures followed to ensure that state secrets, trade secrets, data, etc. are not compromised. Security procedures, plural of security procedure. Security service, MI5. Security service, a government organization established to protect its nation and its secrets from enemies. Security services, plural of security service. Security system, a hardware system that prevents unauthorized intrusion into a premises and reports such attempts. Security systems, plural of security system. Security theater, security measures which are intended to, or do, provide a feeling or illusion of improved security while doing little or nothing to actually improve security. Security theater, alternative form of security theater. Security through obscurity, the habit or practice of relying on a potential attacker's lack of knowledge will maintain security. Security by design, alternative form of security by design. Security by obscurity, alternative form of security through obscurity. Security through obscurity, alternative form of security through obscurity. Security-wise, in terms of security. Securocracies, plural of securocracy. Securocracy, the police and security service that dominated the South African government in the 1980s. Securocrat, any of the members of the police and security service that dominated the South African government in the 1980s. Securocratic, of or pertaining to a securocracy. Securocrats, plural of securocrat. Securonomics, a modern form of supply-side economics inspired by U.S. President Joe Biden's economic policy, particularly his Inflation Reduction Act, and based on the belief that globalization has failed to achieve its stated aims. Becas. Otherwise, to the contrary. Sequebem, a member of the Shuswap people. Sequebemks, plural of Sequebem. Seth, abbreviation of secretary. Initialism of surface conduction electron emitter display. A non-interactive text editor originally developed in Unix, intended for making systematic edits in an automatic or batch-oriented way. Sed card, synonym of comp card. Sed cards, plural of sed card. Sed rate, erythrocyte sedimentation rate. Sed rates, plural of sed rate. Sed, a town in Latvia. Sedacrine, an alkaloid found in Sedan acre. Seneca, a surname. Sedalia, a hamlet in southern Alberta, Canada. Dedham, a surname. Dedhams, plural of Sedum. Dedham, a commune in Ardennes department. France, notable as the site of two major battles between France and Germany. Sedan chair, an open or enclosed chair raised on poles and carried by people or animals, used as a mode of transport. Sedan chairs, plural of sedan chair. Sedan chair. Alternative form of sedan chair. Sedan chairs. Plural of sedan chair. Sedan. An ephemeral political entity established in the late 19th century by a French adventurer, Charles Marie David de Mayrena, in part of what is present-day Vietnam, incorporating various local tribes. Sedamli, resembling or characteristic of a sedan. Sedamo, a surname. Sedanali, one of the chemical constituents in celery oil. Sedanos, plural of sedano. Sedans, plural of sedan. Sedoran, plural of setter. Sedate, remaining composed and dignified and avoiding too much activity or excitement. Sedate, simple past and past participle of sedate. Sedately, calmly without excessive emotion or force in a composed manner. Sedateness, the state or quality of being sedate, calmness of mind, manner, or countenance. Sedator, comparative form of sedate. More sedate. Sedates, third person singular simple present indicative of sedate. Sedatus, superlative form of sedate, most sedate. Sedating, present participle and gerund of sedate. Sedation, the act of sedating, especially by use of sedatives. Sedationist, one who administers sedatives to a patient. Sedationists, plural of sedationists. Sedations, plural of sedation. Sedative, an agent or drug that sedates, having a calming or soothing effect, or inducing sleep. Sedative salt. Boric acid. Sedatives, plural of sedative. Sedaxane, the fungicide 2,1,1-bicycloprop 2-il-3-difluoromethyl 1-methylpyrazole 4-carboxanili. Sedazane, synonym of xylazine. Sedbergh, a small town and civil parish in West Rutland and Furness, Cumbria, England, previously in South Lakeland District OS Grid Ref SD 6592. Sedberry, a surname. Sedberries, plural of Sedberry. Sedbar, acronym of Seasonal Efficiency of a Domestic Boiler in the United Kingdom, a measurement of boiler efficiency, superseded in 2015 by the Energy-Related Products (ERP) Directive. Sedat, simple past and past participle of said. Sedat, a female given name. Sede, present participle and gerund of said. Seddington, a hamlet in Sandy Parish, Central Bedfordshire District, Bedfordshire, England OS Grid Ref TL 1747. Seddingtons, plural of Seddington. Sedative, alternative spelling of sadity acting bourgeois, snobbish, or pretentious. Sedan, a surname. Sedanism, pompous ambition, absurd pretension. Sedans, plural of sedan. Dit, obsolete spelling of seed. Seed vacante, during the vacancy of an episcopal see. Sedicamycin, a macrolide antibiotic. Sedacemol, pertaining to 16. Sedicimarticulate, having 16 joints. Sedicubal, 16-fold. Settelsburg, a village in Saterland, Lower Saxony, Germany. Terenian, a 16-dimensional non-alternative extension of an octonion with one real part and 15 imaginary parts, each a real multiple of a distinct, independent square root of -1. Sedenianic, of or pertaining to Sedenians. Sedenians, plural of Sedenian. Sedano, a surname. Sedanos, plural of Sedino. Sedent, sitting, inactive or still. Sedentarian, any member of the sedentaria. Sedentarians, plural of sedentarian. Sedentaries, plural of sedentary. Sedentarily, in a sedentary way. Sedentariness, the property of being sedentary. Sedentarization, non-Oxford British English Standard spelling of sedentarization. Sedentarize, alternative spelling of sedentarize. Sedentarize, simple past and past participle of sedentarize. Sedentarizes, third person singular simple present indicative of sedentarize. Sedentarizing, present participle and gerund of sedentarize. Sedentarism, the habit of being sedentary. Sedentarization, the settling of a nomadic population, the transition from a nomadic lifestyle to a sedentary one. Sedentarize, to settle a nomadic population through sedentism. Sedentarize, simple past and past participle of sedentarize. Sedentarizes, third person singular simple present indicative of sedentarize. Sedentarizing, present participle and gerund of sedentarize. Sedentary, not moving, relatively still, staying in the vicinity. Sedentism, the practice of living in one place for a long time. Sedentary, misspelling of sedentary. Sedeprivationism, the school of thought in Roman Catholicism that the popes of the new religion of Vatican Roman II Council have been defective or deprived of the infallible teaching authority of the office because of their modernist intent and remain in pope-elect status until recanting the innovations. Setter, a surname. Setterholmite, a hexagonal dihexagonal dipyramidal mineral containing nickel and selenium. Setters, plural of setter. Setterat, a formal meeting, especially of a judicial or ecclesiastical body. Setterunts, plural of setterund. Seed, plural of seed. Seeds in bedida, a papal or episcopal see when there is a partial cessation by the incumbent of his episcopal duties. Sedes vacans, a papal or episcopal see when vacant. Sedevacantism, the belief held by a minority of Christians claiming to be traditionalist Catholics that the present occupant of the Holy See is not the true pope and that the see has been vacant since the 1960s. Sedevacantists, someone who espouses sedevacantism. Sedevacantists, plural of sedevacantists. Sedex, abbreviation of sedimentary exhalative. Tud, any plant of the family Cyperaceae. Sedge flies, plural of sedge fly. Sedge fly, synonym of caddies fly. Sedge frog, any in family Heterolity of medium sosforms. Sedge frogs, plural of sedge frog. Sedge grass, any sedge of the genus Carex. Sedge hat, synonym of Asian conical hat. Sedge warbler is small European warbler, Acrosphalis sconobenus, family Acrosphalidae, that winters in sub-Saharan Africa. Sedge warblers, plural of sedge warbler. Sedge wren, a species of bird, Cysthothorus stellaris. Sedge darter, Any of various asperiid butterflies of the genus Telecoda. Sedge darters. Plural of sedge darter. Sedge scaver. Any of various asperiid butterflies of the genera Hesperilla and Orisplenus. Sedge skippers. Plural of sedge skipper. Sedgebrook. A village and civil parish in South Kesteven District, Lincolnshire, England. OS grid ref SK 8537. Tedit. Made of or composed of sedge. Sedgefield. A town and civil parish in County Durham, England. OS grid ref NZ 3528. Sedifer. A village and civil parish in King's Lynn and West Norfolk District, Norfolk, England. OS grid ref TF 7136. Sedgegrass. Alternative form of sedgegrass. Sedgehill. A hamlet in Sedgehill and Semley Parish, Wiltshire, England. OS grid ref SD 8628. Sedgehill and Semley. A civil parish in southwest Wiltshire, England. Sedgeland. Land where sedge grows in abundance. Sedgelands. Plural of sedgeland. Sedgeoak. Resembling or characteristic of sedge. Sedgemoor. A low-lying area of land in the Somerset Levels in Somerset, England. Sedges. Plural of sedge. Sedoe. A surname. Sedge. Comparative form of sedgy, more sedgy. Sedest. Superlative form of sedgy, most sedgy. Sediness. The state or condition of being sedgy. Setoy. A suburban town in the metropolitan borough of Dudley, West Midlands, England, historically in Staffordshire. OS grid ref SO 9193. Sedoys. Plural of sedgely. Sediman. A surname. Sedgwick. A surname. Sedgwick County. One of 64 counties in Colorado, United States. County seat, Julesburg, named after Fort Sedgwick. Sedgwickian. Or relating to Adam Sedgwick 1785-1873, one of the founders of modern geology, who proposed the Devonian and Cambrian periods. Sed. Of, pertaining to, or covered with sedge. Sedigraphy. The measurement of the particle size of sediments. Sedile. Alternative form of sedilium type of seat in a church. Sediles. Plural of sedile. Sedelia. A series of seats, typically 3, often recessed into the wall on the south side of the chancel or choir, reserved for the use of officiating clergy. Sedelias. Plural of sedilia. Sedilium. One of a row of seats in an ancient Roman amphitheater. Sedello. A surname from Spanish. Sedelos. Plural of sedillo. Sediment. A collection of small particles, particularly dirt, that precipitates from a river or other body of water. Sedimentable. Capable of being removed from suspension in a liquid by means of a centrifuge. Sedimentaceous. Pertaining to or containing sediment. Sedimentoclastic. Being a clastic rock chiefly composed of sedimentary materials. Sedimental. Sedimentary. Sedimentaries. Plural of sedimentary. Sedimentarily. As or in terms of sediment. Sedimentary. Made by the deposition and compression of small particles. Sedimentary basin. A geologic structure. A basin bowl depression, hole and harder rock that is filled in with sediments. Sedimentary basins. Plural of sedimentary basin. Sedimentary rock. one of the major groups of rock that makes up the crust of the Earth, formed by the deposition of either the weathered remains of other rocks, the results of biological activity, or precipitation from solution. Sedimentary rocks, plural of sedimentary rock. Sedimentate, to form a sediment. Sedimentated, simple past and past participle of sedimentate. Sedimentates, third person singular simple present indicative of sedimentate. Sedimentating, present participle and gerund of sedimentate. Sedimentation, the separation of a suspension of solid particles into a concentrated slurry and a supernatant liquid, either to concentrate the solid or to clarify the liquid. Sedimentation time, the measure of the thickness of sediment accumulated per unit of time. Sedimentation times, plural of sedimentation time. Sedimentational, relating to sedimentation. Sedimentations, plural of sedimentation. Sedimentator, any device for separating sediments from liquids, such as a centrifuge. Sedimentators, plural of sedimentator. Sedimented, simple past and past participle of sediment. Sedimentoclastic, alternative form of sedimentoclastic. Sedimenting, present participle and gerund of sediment. Sedimentitious, pertaining to or containing sediment. Sedimentize, to turn into sediment. Sedimentized, simple past and past participle of sedimentize. Sedimentizes, third person singular simple present indicative of sedimentize. Sedimentizing, present participle and gerund of sedimentize. Sedimentoclastic, alternative form of sedimentoclastic. Sedimentologic, synonym of sedimentological. Sedimentological, of, pertaining to, or caused by sedimentology. Sedimentologically, in terms of sedimentology. Sedimentologies, plural of sedimentology. Sedimentologist, a person involved in sedimentology. Sedimentologists, plural of sedimentologists. Sedimentology, the study of natural sediments and of the processes by which they are formed. Sedimentometer, a device used to analyze the sedimentation rate. Sedimentometric, relating to sedimentometry. Sedimentometry, the measurement of the settling rates of particles or fibers in a fluid. Sedimentous, of or relating to sediment. Sediments, plural of sediment. Sedanon, a piperidine alkaloid found in sedum. Sedic, alternative form of sedic. Sedition, organized incitement of rebellion or civil disorder against authority or the state, usually by speech or writing. Seditionaries, plural of seditionary. Seditionary, an insider or promoter of sedition, a seditionist. Seditionist, one who is involved in sedition. Seditionists, plural of seditionists. Seditions, plural of sedition. Is it as, of, related to, or being involved in sedition. Seditiously, in a seditious manner or fashion. Seditiousness, the quality or state of being seditious. Sedity, alternative form of sedity. Sedawi, a surname from Czech. Sedavis, plural of sedavi. Sedire, A Persian carpet measuring approximately 130-140 cm 51-55 in x 200-210 cm 79-83 in. Sejayyahs, plural of Sejade. Sedlaisek, a surname. Sedlaisex, plural of Sedlaisek. Sedai, a surname. Sedax, plural of Sedlai. Settlescombe, a village and civil parish in Rother district, East Sussex, England. OS Grid Ref TQ 7818. Sedley, a surname. Sedlitz powder, alternative form of Seidlitz powder. Sedlitz powders, plural of Sedlitz powder. Sedlock, a surname. Sedlocks, plural of Sedlock. Thana, the Inuit goddess of the sea and marine animals. Senoi, a trans-Neptunian object of the inner Uit cloud, that is, one with a perihelion greater than 75 O. Sednides, plural of Sednoi. Sedinalgesia, analgesia combined with sedation. Sedinalgesias, plural of sedinalgesia. Setoheptulakinase, a kinase that catalyzes the phosphorylation of setoheptulose. Setoheptulose, a heptose ketose widely distributed in plants of the family Crassulaceae, especially in the leaves of the sedum. It plays a part in the fixation of carbon dioxide by photosynthesis. Setoheptuloses, plural of setoheptulose. Taoka, a particular kind of Japanese poem composed of two sets of 5-7-7 syllables. Cetolison, any of a group of peptidases that hydrolyze serine derivatives. Cetolysins, plural of cetolysine. Tadona, a female given name. Setor, a surname. Setors, plural of setor. Sedale, a surname. Sedavite, an orthorhombic mineral containing molybdenum, oxygen, and uranium. Tedrakian, a surname from Armenian. Sedurakians, plural of Sedrakian. Sedrakian, a surname from Armenian. Sedrakians, plural of Sedrakian. Sedriano, a commune in the metropolitan city of Milan, Lombardy, Italy. Terra, a village in Tujec municipality, Graubünden canton, Switzerland. Ted, plural of acd. Ted, third person singular simple present indicative of said. Dedak, simple past and past participle of seduce. Theres, to beguile or lure someone away from duty, accepted principles or proper conduct, to lead astray. Sedras sobal, able to be seduced. Terast, simple past and past participle of seduce. Seduci, one who is seduced. Seduces, plural of seduci. Seducement, seduction. Seducements, plural of seducement. To refer, someone who seduces, especially a man who seduces a woman. Seducers, plural of seducer. Tereses, third person singular simple present indicative of seduce. Teroses, second person singular simple present indicative of seduce. Seduce, third person singular simple present indicative of seduce. Tenrosoval, able to be seduced. Seduce, present participle and gerund of seduce. Seducingly, so as to seduce, seductively. Seducings, plural of seducing. Seduce, obsolete form of seductive. Seducti, alternative form of seducee. Seductees, plural of seducti. Seduction, the act of seducing. Seduction community, a loose and informal community of heterosexual men who exchange information about how to seduce women. Seduction theory, Sigmund Freud's hypothesis in the mid-1890s that a repressed memory of an early childhood sexual abuse experience was the essential precondition for hysterical or obsessional symptoms. Seductionist, one who practices seduction, a seducer. Seductionists, plural of seductionists. Seductions, plural of seduction. Seductive, attractive, alluring, tempting. Seductively, in a seductive manner. Seductiveness, the property of being seductive. Seductivity, the quality of being seductive. Seductor, one who seduces. Seductors, plural of seductor. Seductor, obsolete spelling of seductor. Seductors, plural of seductor. Seductress, a woman skilled in and practiced at seduction. Seductresses, plural of seductress. Sedulities, plural of sedulity. Sedulity, diligence, persistence. Sedulous, a person diligent in application or pursuit, constant and persevering in business or in endeavors to effect a goal, steadily industrious. Sedulously, applying constant and enduring effort to a task or course of action in a sedulous manner. Sedulousness, the quality of being sedulous. Sedum, any of various succulent plants of the genus Sedum, native to temperate zones, the stone crop. Sedums, plural of sedum. Sedway, a surname. Sedwix, plural of Sedwick. That initialism of single event effect a temporary or permanent fault caused by an ionizing radiation particle or ray striking a computer chip. That to perceive or detect someone or something with the eyes or as if by sight. Say a man, used in place of a real explanation when excusing oneself for a short period of time, particularly euphemistic to use the toilet or historical drink alcohol. See a man about to die, used in place of a real explanation when excusing oneself for a short period of time, particularly euphemistic to use the toilet or historical drink alcohol. See a man about a horse, used in place of a real explanation when excusing oneself for a short period of time, particularly to use a toilet. See a way clear to. Alternative form of see one's way clear to. Say a wolf. To lose one's voice. Say a hath. To take care of, to attend to check up on. Say hath. To look after, watch over, or care for someone. Say also. A suggestion that other topics of study are related to a current topic. Say an argument. To believe an opinion has enough justification to sustain a debate about it, whether or not the opinion is ultimately true. See and is seen. To spend time in public or at an event in order to mingle with important or glamorous people and to appear important or glamorous oneself. See beyond. To be capable of predicting the future past a certain point. See beyond the end of one's nose. Alternative form of see past the end of one's nose. See beyond the tip of one's nose. Alternative form of see past the end of one's nose. See coming. To notice in advance, especially to recognize as a threat or problem, to foresee. See daylight. To reach an understanding of something previously obscure, to arrive as solution to a problem. See dollar signs. To greedily notice the potential to make a profit. See double. To experience double vision, wherein the eyes do not focus on the same point and a single object is therefore perceived as two. See eye to eye. To agree, especially in every respect, to concur, to get along. See fit. To deem appropriate. See for oneself. To confirm a doubted claim by directly examining it. See here. An admonition that the listener should pay attention to what the speaker says next. See how. To see how things go. To wait longer before deciding or committing to something. See how the land lies. To wait for all the information about something before taking action. See hum. Blood cockles, arc clams as food. See if I care. Synonym of I don't care. To show someone in, to introduce someone to the inside of a place. To perceive the truth about, especially of future events. See into a millstone. To understand a complex matter. See mui, crack seed. See Naples and die. One can die at peace after having seen Naples, Italy, nothing else on earth surpassing its beauty. Seath. To accompany someone to a point of departure, to ensure someone departs safely. See one's way clear to manage to commit oneself to a decision or course of action. See one's way to. Alternative form of see one's way clear to. See oneself out. To depart from a dwelling unaccompanied. Seath. To accompany a guest to the door when he or she leaves, also used figuratively. Seove. To inspect something fully. See pass. Synonym of look past. See past the end of one's nose. To have insight into underlying facts or consequences, to possess common sense or a vision for the future. See past the tip of one's nose. Alternative form of see past the end of one's nose. See reason. Synonym of see sense. See red. To become enraged, angry, or irritated. See sense. Realize the error in what one is thinking or doing. See service. To be put to use, to be employed for a purpose. See it. Synonym of see things. See someone right. To satisfy someone. See someone's etchings. To have sex with someone. See something green in one's eye. To notice or detect signs of gullibility in a person. See something, say something. Alternative form of if you see something, say something. See stars. To experience apparent flashing lights in one's field of vision, especially after receiving a blow to the head. See that. Used other than figuratively or idiomatically. See that. See the back of. Used other than figuratively or idiomatically. See back. See the dark side of the moon. To do or experience something exceedingly difficult or rare. See the day. To experience in one's lifetime. See the elephant. To witness something unexpected and awe-inspiring. See the error of one's ways. To understand the reasons for which one's prior conduct was wrong or mistaken. See the forest but for the trees. Alternative form of see the forest for the trees. See the forest for the trees. To discern an overall pattern from a mass of detail, to see the big picture or the broader, more general situation. See the forest through the trees. Alternative form of see the forest for the trees. See the glass half empty. To focus on what one does not have instead of what one has. To focus on the negative aspects of a situation. To adopt a pessimistic attitude towards life in general. See the glass half full. To focus on what one has instead of what one does not have. To focus on the positive aspects of a situation. To adopt an optimistic attitude towards life in general. See the last of. To stop seeing or encountering a person or thing. See the light. To undergo a spiritual conversion. See the light of day. To appear, to be published or disseminated. See the point. To understand someone's argument. See the same way. To look at or think of with the same mindset or vision as one did in the past. See the trees through the forest. To appreciate the details of something as opposed to only focusing on the big picture. See the way clear to. Alternative form of see one's way clear to. See the wood for the trees. Alternative form of see the forest for the trees. See the woods for the trees. Alternative form of see the forest for the trees. See the world. To travel extensively, to experience many different places. See things. To imagine that one sees things that are not actually present, to have visual hallucinations. See through. To perceive visually through something transparent. See through a millstone. Alternative form of see into a millstone. See to take care of, to effect, to make happen. To ensure or guarantee that something happens. See what sticks. To test multiple tactics at once in order to attain a particular result. See which way the cat jumps. To delay taking action based on the outcome of something else. See with half an eye. To see something without any difficulty, because it is obvious. Alternative form of see you. See you soon, see you later, or see you again soon. See yellow. To receive a yellow card. See you later. See you around. Synonym of see you later. See you in hell. A farewell which implies that a person addressed is about to die and be damned, often uttered in bravado by one adversary to imply that the other adversary may defeat them in some conflict, but in the end both will be dead and in hell, making the victory a pig one. See you in the funny pages. Synonym of see you in the funny papers. See you in the funny papers. Goodbye. See you later. See you Jimmy hat. A stereotypically Scottish novelty hat. A tartan tam o'shanter with false ginger hair attached. See you Jimmy hats. Plural of see you Jimmy hat. See you later. A phrase used at parting, and not necessarily implying that the person being addressed will be seen later by the speaker. See you later. Alligator. Au revoir. See you soon. See you later. Baked potato. Au revoir. See you soon. See you next Thursday. Alternative form of see you next Tuesday. Cunt. Objectionable person. See you next Tuesday. A cunt. An objectionable person. See you next Tuesdays. Plural of see you next Tuesday. See you round. Synonym of see you later. See you soon. Goodbye. Something said at a farewell, not necessarily literally meaning that the speaker will see the hearers again. See you tomorrow. Used as a farewell stating that the speaker and interlocutor S will see each other the next day. See you when I see you, used as a farewell when the next time the speaker and interlocutor will meet is not known. This obsolete form of ceased. The contraction of see it. See bright, a plant, the common clary. Today, uncommon spelling of seer. Says, plural of seer. Seethaw, alternative spelling of seesaw. Seethaw, simple past and past participle of seesaw. Seesawing, present participle and gerund of seesaw. Seesaws, plural of seesaw. Sissy, Ammoprix grisagularis, a game bird in the pheasant family. CC partridge, a bird in the Phascidae family of species Ammoprix grisagularis. CC partridges, plural of CC partridge. Sisses, plural of CC. See-roo, transparent or translucent that can be seen through. See-rooness, the state of being see-through. Transparency. See-roo, alternative spelling of see-through. See you next Tuesday, alternative form of see you next Tuesday. See you next Tuesdays, plural of see you next Tuesday. Seattle, equality in Seattle. Sal, able to be seen, visible. Salmas, equality in Seattle. Sals, plural of Seattle. The, a province of Oman. Tivak, a northern suburb of Zurich, Switzerland. Da, a surname from German. Seebeck coefficient, synonym of thermopower. Seebeck coefficients, plural of Seebeck coefficient. Seebeck effect, the thermodynamic effect by which heat being passed through a thermocouple is converted into electricity. Thex, plural of Seebeck. Sever, a surname. Seberter, a surname from German. Saberders, plural of Seberger. Sitters, plural of Sieber. Des, plural of Sieb. Seaberry, a surname. Seagash, a full-grown male northern fur seal cow Arhanus ursinus. Seacati, plural of seacatch. Seacaties, plural of seacatchy. Did Lancashire, West Country, and possibly other dialects form of Seek. Hid, simple past and past participle of Seach. HS, third person singular simple present indicative of Seach. Satan, pronunciation spelling of Seaching. Seaching, present participle and gerund of Seach. Did, a surname. Seed bank, synonym of seed vault. Seed banking, the keeping of seeds in seed vaults. Seed banks, plural of seed bank. Seed bead, a spheroidal bead used in weaving. Seed bead, plural of seed bead. Seed beetle, banal weevil. Seed beetles, plural of seed beetle. Seed by, any of various trubos of the infraorder Pentatomomorpha. Seed buds, plural of seed bar. Seed cake, alternative form of seed cake. Seed cakes, plural of seed cake. Seed case, Alternative form of seed case. Seed cases. Plural of seed case. Seed change. Acorn of seed change. Seed changes. Plural of seed change. Seed coat. The protective outer cover of a seed. Seed cuts. Plural of seed coat. Seed corn. Seed that is saved from one year's harvest for the subsequent year's planting, rather than being used to make flour, etc. Seed crystal. A small crystal from which a larger crystal of the same substance is grown. Seed crystals. Plural of seed crystal. Seed down. To sow with seeds to make grass grow. Seed drill. A type of sowing machine. Seed drills. Plural of seed drill. Seed fir. A plant of division Pteridospermatophyta, which had fronds like a fern and naked seeds. Seed ferns. Plural of seed fern. Seed fill. A flood fill. Seed fills. Plural of seed fill. Seed funder. An investor who contributes seed funding. Seed funders. Plural of seed funder. Seed funding. The early investment of capital in a startup company in exchange for an equity stake in the company. Seed funding. Plural of seed funding. Seed call. A small gall. Seed galls. Plural of seed gall. Seed grain. Grain seed saved from one year's harvest for the subsequent year's planting. Seed leaf. One of the first leaves a seed plant's embryo develops. Seed leaves. Plural of seed leaf. Seed libraries. Plural of seed library. Seed library. A place to share seed. Seed money. Money used to set up a new business venture. Seed monies. Plural of seed money. Seed money. Plural of seed money. Seed moth. Hophanophila pseudospretella, a common pest moth, native to Europe and Asia, but now found worldwide. Seed oil. A form of edible oil extracted from seeds. Seed oils. Plural of seed oil. Seed oyster. A young oyster, especially one of a size suitable for transplantation to a new locality. Seed oysters. Plural of seed oyster. Seed pearl. A tiny, often irregular pearl. Seed pearls. Plural of seed pearl. Seed phrase. A list of words which store all the information needed to recover a cryptocurrency wallet. Seed phrases. Plural of seed phrase. Seed pit. A single seed in the center of a cherry, peach, plum, olive, avocado, or other fruit. Seed pits. Plural of seed pit. Seed plant. A plant which reproduces by breeding seeds in a wide sense of the term, including spores, etc. Seed plants. Plural of seed plant. Seed pie. Alternative form of seed pie. Seed pods. Plural of seed pie. Seed potato. A potato, usually with tiny shoots chits, which is planted in the ground in order to grow a potato plant. Seed potatoes. Plural of seed potato. Seed shrimp. An ostracod class Ostracoda. Seed shrimps, plural of seed shrimp. Seed stitch, a basic basket weave in which knit and purl stitches alternate in every column wale and every row course, i.e. every knit stitch is flanked on all four sides by purl stitches and vice versa. Seed stitches, plural of seed stitch. Seed stalk, a stalk of seed. Seed stalks, plural of seed stalk. Seed tick, a small, immature tick larva. Seed ticks, plural of seed tick. Seed tree, a tree selected to produce seed for reforestation, especially a superior tree left standing at the time of cutting. Seed trees, plural of seed tree. Seed vault, a place used for storage of seeds as a source for planting in case seed reserves or biodiversity elsewhere are destroyed. Seed vaults, plural of seed vault. Seed vessel, the ripened and otherwise modified wall of a plant ovary. Seed vessels, plural of seed vessel. Seed wale, been weevil. Seed wool, cotton wool not yet cleansed of its seeds. Seed bird, synonym of pied wagtail. Seed birds, plural of seed bird. Seed born, alternative form of seed born. Seed bud, the bud or germ of a seed. An ovule. Seed buds, plural of seed bud. Seed cake, alternative form of seed cake. Seed cakes, plural of seed cake. Seed faith, the practice of donating money to religious causes in the belief that one will receive blessings from God in exchange, associated with televangelism. Seed lobe, a cotyledon. Seed lobes, plural of seed lobe. Seed nut, alternative form of seed nut. Seed nuts, plural of seed nut. Seed time, alternative form of seed time. Seed times, plural of seed time. Suitable, suitable for cloud seeding. Seeded, the condition of behavior produced by seed. Seed bag, a bag for holding seeds. Seed bags, plural of seed bag. Seed bank, alternative form of seed bank. Seed banks, plural of seed bank. Seed bearing, capable of producing or bearing seeds.